So recently I seen that Chris Brown character has been trending and has been arrested. This is all damage control and also an energy harvest. So what is the chances that this character is currently 36 when this happens? Now you're probably like, okay, what does that mean, Divine? Well, 3 plus 6 is 9. And in my video on January 13th on the LA fires, and I talked about how the characters that they're going to be using this year are going to be characters predominantly connected to the number 9. And usually the number 36 or 63. Like for an example, I think Angie Stone was born in 63. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Just go watch that video. I talk about it in that video how her entire death was connected to the number 9, which proves what I said on January 13th, that they're going to be using characters connected to 9, and mainly the 3-6 way of getting to 9, okay, because of the 369. So it's a really good video. I recommend you guys go check it out. It is not a coincidence that they use this character, like I said in this video on January 13th. Characters who are born March 6th or June 3rd will be used. All right, characters who are turning 36 this year, characters who are 36, they will be using them. Characters born in 1963, characters who are 63, they're literally going to be using so many characters who are connected to the number 9 this year, and they've already done it, proving my point even more, okay? Because it's all coding, it's all scripting, and you guys need to understand that. I have a numerology ebook on Patreon. If you guys are interested, I recommend you guys go and get that. I also have a numerology calendar for this year to show you the numerical energy of each day. I did all of the math for you guys. And also, if you're even more interested, join the enlightenment tier and I can give you guys a numerology reading, okay? So, like I said in this video, characters connected to 36 will be used. Characters connected to 9 will be used. And as we see, Chris Brown gets arrested and he is 36 right now. Also, this is damage control to the Facebook, I don't know what this thing is called, the Facebook reel that I made. And it went viral. Basically, I was refreshing people's memory on the fact that Chris Brown and I'll Be Sure are the exact same. Okay, their template is copy and paste. When they made Chris Brown's character, they made him from the template that I'll Be Sure is made from. Okay, so this entire thing is damage control to that Facebook reel, and it is also purposely structured, and it's also purposely done because, again, the character is 36 right now. We're in a 9 year, so 36, 3 plus 6 is 9. Okay, so another thing about this 36, his other name, which is Breezy, equals 36 in the reduction cipher. Alright, so he's 36, Breezy equals 36, and he gets arrested. 3 plus 6 is 9. This is a 9 year. This is all scripted. I mean, come on, really? So, 2 years ago, I made a video telling you guys that Chris Brown, I'll Be Sure, and Big Pun were all the same, along with mentioning characters like Anthony Davis being the same as them, okay? So, in this video, my main focus will just be talking about these 3 characters that you see right here. But I do want to mention that they have other characters, okay? So the 2 other characters that they have, Conscious X has exposed them in the past, and those 2 characters are Pooh Shiesty and Shock G. Now, he exposed them as being their own group of characters because it makes it simpler for other people to understand, but their template and their image is still intertwined with these 3 characters right here. Okay, because every time I see I'll Be Sure, I see Pooh Shiesty. While I was working this video, I couldn't help but to see Shock G in them. Characters are deeply intertwined. They are the same, alright? But like I said, this video in particular, I'm going to be focusing on these 3 characters and all the crazy connections between them. Now let's get into one of the most disgusting and blatant connections between these 3 characters, this trio of characters. Their newest character in regards to them right here is Chris Brown, right? Chris Brown. His name is made up of his 2 base characters. So Chris, which is short for Christopher, comes from Big Pun's real name, which is Christopher. Come on, really? Are we serious right now? And then Brown comes from I'll Be Sure's last name, which is Brown. What is the chances of that? Okay? His name, like, come on, the mockery is in your face. They made his name up of the characters that his vessel is designed based off of. I mean, that is ridiculous. Christopher is Big Pon's name. His name's Christopher. Brown is Albie Shear's last name. His last name's Brown. Come on. I could just stop all the connections right here, show you guys some side by sides and end the video. But no, I'm not. Let's get deeper with this. So Albert equals 22, okay? Albert is Albie Shear's first name. Well, how does this 22 connect to Chris Brown? When you look up how long has Chris Brown been active in his career, it says since 2002. 2002, the zeros have no value. That's 22. His other character, Albie Shear, name is Albert, equals 22. Later in 2002, they're going to put out a character called Chris Brown who comes from the image of Albie Shear, who equals 22. The 22 connection is just insane. I mean, like, they really are putting this in people's face. You know, it's crazy. Also, Dead equals 22. Albie Shear is most likely going to die very soon. Chris Brown could even die. He's that type of character where they'll do a harvest for that, you know. So more connections with the number 22. Breezy equals 22 in the Chaldean cipher, matching to Albie Shear, and Brown with 22. Okay? So very connected, and Brown goes both ways because it could be Albie Shear's last name and it could be Chris Brown's last name, because guess what? It's both their last names. I mean, come on. That is like a really sick, blatant connection between these characters. Are you catching on? It's like in your face. So Breezy matches to Albie Shear with 74 in a Latin ordinal cipher and 29 in a Latin reduction cipher. So these two characters very connected. I mean, the gematria is just crazy between these two characters. All right, and the 74 again, killing equals 74. Characters are very scripted with death. All right, so here is a side-by-side comparison that I made of these two characters. I made a plethora of comparisons of these characters because it was just too easy at this point. So we see that they are literally posed the exact same almost, okay? The only thing different is that Albie Shear is just making a certain facial expression. But seriously, what is the chances that they would even have a photo this similar? I always say that they leave this behind as clues, because this seems like purposely done, because these two photos are so many years apart from each other, okay? It's so many years apart. So what would be the chances that, you know, they would have such a similar photo if, like, Albie Shear's picture is most likely from like the 80s, and then like Chris Brown picture is like from like 2012 or something like that. That is so many years apart. Why would this even be a connection for them to have similar photos? I talked about this in my Eminem and Central C video. I couldn't believe how many photos they had that were so identical, that were so similar. I mean, this is like a connection in itself, having similar photos. So here's another comparison that I made. Again, the similarity. They look so much alike, and then they're even matching with the glasses. This stuff is purposely done. I do not think that this stuff is just random. I don't think that it's a coincidence. I think that it's intentionally done. I think that he was intentionally wearing glasses at one point for this reason, okay, because it connects to his other character. And then right here is another side-by-side of Albie Shear and Chris Brown. Jawline is exactly the same. I mean, these two characters look so much alike, especially this era of Chris Brown. Him and Albie Shear look a lot alike. Even this era, they look a lot alike, okay? So these are really good comparisons that I made. You know what's a crazy thing? The unibrow. So the unibrow is one of those things where it's like, it's a giveaway for some of the characters in a group, like Anthony Davis, Albie Shear, and Big Pun. It's like a huge giveaway, but purposely with Chris Brown's character, they did not give him the unibrow. So it can kind of throw people off, but seriously, if you like removed it and like photoshopped it out of there off of these other characters, they look basically identical to Chris Brown. Albie Shear's name equals 128, matching to Chris Brown with 128 in the Latin ordinal cipher. Joseph, which is Albie Shear's middle name, equals 89. That is insane, because guess what? Chris Brown just so happens to be born in the year 1989. What is the chances that Joseph, which is Albie Shear's middle name, equals 89, and then Chris Brown, his other character, is going to be made in 1989? What is the chances of that? Crazy connection. Here's another connection. So they always do this thing where they're around similar celebrities that their other character was around, all right? This is purposely done. I feel like it's for familiarity purposes, and it gets people used to the new character in some way, okay? So it's also a mocking, all right? Let's not forget that. This is mocking. This is also a clue. Albie Shear has a lot of photos. Okay, this is not the only photo. It's just the one that I wanted to put in this comparison. Was around Mike Tyson. And what is the chances that decades later, Chris Brown is around Mike Tyson? Okay, this is not a coincidence. This is purposely done. This is just insane because they're always around similar people. And here we go again, one of the weirdest connections. So, I'll Be Sure has a quote unquote son, which is Quincy, okay? And Quincy and Chris Brown are very close. And the weirdest thing is, Chris Brown is technically like his dad, but then his brother at the same time. And I say he's his dad because he literally comes from the template of his dad, okay? And that kind of makes this weird thing where he's kind of like Quincy's brother, but then like him and Quincy are also the same. It's this weird thing, okay? So this is just huge confusion and purposely done, and like the biggest mockery of it all. And of course he's doing one eye symbolism. And since we're on the topic of one eye symbolism, here are some photos of these characters doing one eye symbolism. I'll Be Sure has shockingly a lot of photos doing one eye symbolism. Okay, so right here, one eye symbolism in the most craziest way. Here, did you know this is? Look, he's doing one eye symbolism, alright? And then again, Chris Brown, he's doing one eye symbolism with the hat. I could pull up way more photos of Chris Brown doing symbolism because I just know his character has a lot. And then look, I was so shocked when I found this, but not really shocked because they're all gonna do it. Big Pun has this photo doing one eye symbolism. Come on, they all do it. Chris Brown looks so much like his other characters in this photo. But the main thing that I want to talk about is his shirt. Why would he be wearing Biggie on a shirt? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Now there's so many connections that I'm about to get in with this. Alright, so many connections that I'm about to point out with this. You know, this is a small detail that literally can be explained so well. So the first thing I want to say is it's not a coincidence that Chris Brown gets arrested around the same time of the Diddy trial. Alright, I'll Be Sure and Diddy are connected because some weird, family dynamic thing going on. Diddy was close to Biggie's character. I think he even found Biggie or whatever happened with all of that. Either way, do you guys understand this? I'll Be Sure is Chris Brown. So for Chris Brown to be wearing Biggie on his shirt, he's mocking that he is I'll Be Sure because I'll Be Sure is close to Diddy, okay? And Diddy was close to Biggie. All right, so it's all interconnected. And then the real crazy part of this all is the fact that while the trial is going on, Chris Brown gets arrested. So it's all interconnected. I mean, guys, these connections go like crazy, but that's not even the main connection I want to get into. Let's actually get into the connection. So Biggie just so happens to be from New York, right? Well, guess what? Big Pun is also from New York. Biggie, Big, B-I-G, all right, is in Biggie's name, the notorious B.I.G., B.I.G., right? And then Big Pun, B.I.G., okay? So they're really connected. There's even this Photoshop picture of the both of them being together. And they're both big. And so that's just a crazy little connection, a little riddle. So here's a side-by-side comparison of Big Pun and Chris Brown. Yes, Big Pun's character used to be smaller until they oddly made him bigger, purposely, because I think that his image would just be too identical to the character that they would make later, years down the line, which would be Chris Brown's character, as you see from the side by side. And it just would have been too obvious that him and I'll Be Sure were identical and the same. Here's another side by side comparison, another one. And yeah, like he looks like kind of goofy looking, but literally it's the same thing. I mean, their nose, it's the same. These two characters are identical. Now here's a crazy connection. So Big Pun was close to Fat Joe, as you see from the photo on the left, right? Well, let's look at the photo on the right. Who is that? That's Fat Joe and Chris Brown. Same characters, different font, okay? So it's the same character in a different vessel, in a sense, all right? So the mockery of it all is that Fat Joe and Chris Brown have a song together called Another Round, and like technically like Big Pun is like, Chris Brown is Big Pun's other round, like his other round of a character, like his new character, his new vessel. That's like a crazy connection. I don't know if that makes complete sense, but I hope you guys understand that. It's like he's the new variant of him, so like it's weird. Like they're together all over again. It's like this duo is technically back. So Big Pun matches to Chris with 30 and 33 in a reduction, and reverse reduction cipher also matching to Masonry with 33. And since we're talking about 33, let's talk about something I brought up in my last Chris Brown video 2 years ago, which was the fact that this character is so connected to Coca Cola. Alright? So, right here, random photo, and in the background is the soda machine. Right here, he has the hat on, okay? And right here, he's wearing it on a shirt randomly. Who does that?